As I said previously, I had watched Gachiakuta's first season within the span of 3 days. Simply put, where has this absolutely scrumptious meal been, and how long do I have to wait for the next season? Deadass, I've not enjoyed an anime this much in a fat minute. Oh my god, where to start? That first episode threw me for a loop with a number of twists and turns, with said ending leaving me left with nothing but intrigue. Past me really had no idea how much of a joyride he was getting on after that. Rudo. He's an intriguing main protagonist. Well, as much as a protag can be, with one of his main goals being vengeance against those who wronged him, can be, but he's honestly pretty bare bones as a character in terms of the level of complexity and personality. He's simple in a sense, but with the advent of his vital instrument and marks, quote unquote, on his hands, mystery is attached to him, and we'd be reminded of it every time we see his instrument. Curiosity left to rouse in the viewer's mind. That is such a brilliant narrative tool. A constant reminder that, like Rudo, we know so little about this world that he's fallen into, that we too have dived into the unfamiliar. God, that's so clever. So clever. Then, as the story progresses in its early stages, we meet the main cast. The main cast I refer to is the three individuals we see in the first opening aside from Rudo: Engine, Zanka, and Rio. Of course, we meet a lot of other characters, but I'll focus on these three specifically since we spend the most time with them. Engine's entrance, for me, only added further into the mystery of this world. Like the happenstance of Rudo's first encounter of Engine. Why were you in a place that's considered dangerous even for someone like yourself, Engine? Why were you there? While it's clear that he's taken on a sort of pseudo-mentor role for Rudo, and is overall a chill, fanciful guy, the circumstances in which he first met Rudo leave me suspicious of him. Maybe I'm looking at ghosts. I suppose you'll know the answers to that, future me. Zanka, even though he's assigned to Rudo as a mentor, I honestly see him more as Rudo's colleague, and in some aspects, Rudo's handler, if anything. With his traits of attentiveness and self-discipline, he quits that role quite well. Hell, we got the most backstory out of him, specifically a whole episode later on focused centrally around him, giving way to his view of himself as the mediocre, average, middling against everyone else in possession of their own vital instrument, as the prodigious, talented, exceptional. Hard work versus the gifted, essentially. In that aspect, his success has been interesting, to say the least. One step forward, two steps back, I suppose you could call his progress. Whether or not he'll overcome that conflict or that view of himself, the story awaits. Now, Rio. If Engine is the character we know nothing of his past, and I'm personally left suspicious of, and Zanka is the character we know of his past and his current motivations, Rio lies in between. She does start out just as much as of an unknown factor as Engine, but as the season progresses, we start to get little sprinkles of her past here and there, with episode 18 being less of a sprinkle and more a slice of cake into her past. So in a sense, we can venture with the info we have and attempt to theorize her past, but that's as far as it goes. Just speculation. On the surface, she's personality-wise not too dissimilar to Engine, even at times more so whimsical than he is. but with a dash of inquisitiveness. But when we received said slice of cake, we saw that she possessed an edge that Engine either doesn't have or is yet to be seen. In some ways, she intrigues me more than Engine because we do know at least some things about her. At least I can come up with some idea on how she came to work for the cleaners compared to Engine, where I'm left with nothing but to lay waste in my suspicion in the most subtle of stirs. Anyhow, Rio too sits in the role of colleague with Rudo, acting as a pseudo-mentor on occasion, the latter coming out more due to her curiosity of Rudo's origins more than anything else. In all, I wonder how much Rudo will change them and them change Rudo as time goes on. God, there's so much I could honestly gush about this series. The bold and distinct art style, the psychedelic animation, the fact that the story progression barely pauses for its audience to breathe, the mysteries and the unknowns of this world which further progresses the story, and so much more. Hell, I didn't even talk about Amos. That's a whole thing I could dive into. But I'll be dead ass. I'm tired. I want to talk more Gachiakuta, but my brain is being utterly fried. I've been writing this for nearly 2 hours straight. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rate it. I gave Bocchi the Rock a 9 out of 10 for its first season. The highest rating so far, I believe, in my journal entries, at least in regards to anime. For Gachiakuta's first season, it too is a 9 out of 10 for me. 2 9 out of 10 shows. Said way there a 9 out of 10 to me was reached through very different reasons. But damn, both were so delicious. Can't wait for both of their respective second seasons. Sooner rather than later, please. Unless the artists and animators are cooking some god tier stuff. Then cook away. Cook away with all the time in the world. Last things of note, this week break from fitness is really nice. Yeah, my body was crying out for this for sure. Also, modified the workout routine so I can have a little more free time at my leisure. Got a haircut today so said hair doesn't get caught in the rope as I jump rope. Thank God, because that's an annoyance when it happens. We'll finish the sketch page this week, so that's good considering I'm sitting on ideas currently. It's honestly probably good that I'm getting ideas at all for art. We'll decide what anime to watch next after this entry is complete. JJK 3 is going on right now, so maybe. Anyways, I'm gonna use the bathroom, then boil a potato, eat potato, and whatever else happens after happens while watching Tsunomaki Watame run a onigiri shop. Matane. This journal entry was written on January 15th, 3 a.m.